again, I'm excited because I think from what I've heard from other cities that want to participate in our group is that we're going to be a leader again in our province on how to deal with homelessness and partnerships and how we can bring the community together. And really, that's council's main job, is to be the voice of council and bring it together. You know, I hear lots of our colleagues say, well, we should ask, more of the taxpayers, involved. Well, they are involved because they elected us. And we speak for the general public. We shouldn't be going back to them on every item. We ran, they know our morals, and we'll move forward. So I want to thank you for your presentation, Dr. Nelson, and I'll call for the vote. Thank you. So I'm prompting the question. I think I'm going to do, it's one of my other colleagues do. I am going to request a recorded vote, please. It's still in our procedure bylaw? Yep, okay. Recorded vote.
So we have a recorded vote regarding the Homeless Action Initiative. Moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Grodnick. Councillor Zirakowski.
Oh, just hang on, I got to knock off chat, sorry. Stop speaking. Councillor Zirakowski.
Yes.
Mayor Dion.
Yes.
Councillor Miller.
Yes.
Councillor Lennox-Zepp.
No.
Councillor Head.
Yes.
Councillor Cody.
Yes.
Councillor Grodnick.
Yes.
Councillor Edwards.
Yes.
Councillor Kilmer.
Yes.
Carried.
Carries 8-1. Thank you, everyone, for your support, and look to speak to all of you that's in the gallery. And I'll just pause for a minute if you'd like to depart, because we do have quite an agenda, and I know you have lots of things to do. So first of all, thank you for all coming, and be safe out there.
Mr. Mayor, I have an additional motion here. So, Mr. Mayor, my additional motion.
I'll get to you, just wait a minute, I'm clearing out the room. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Zepp.
Thank you. That the city implement a warm-up station.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Seconder?
I'll second what.
Councillor Miller?
I'll second, but I need to know where.
Well, and the money, we don't know anything, but that's normal.
I'm asking her the question, actually.
Oh, I'm trying to prompt you again, sorry. Kate, you're up.
So, sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I speak to the motion?
Well, if Councillor Miller has the floor.
I'm asking Councillor Zepp, where would you like the warming station?
So, I did think of specifying a location, and perhaps council will wish to do that. But my suggestion is that city administration may be in the best position to determine a location for this, and that perhaps city administration may be able to, if we as council direct them tonight, if we as council direct that we are implementing a warm-up station, that perhaps city administration will then be in the best position to assess what location that should occur at. We do have city facilities that could possibly occur at. I have heard when we, several of us were at a meeting with downtown businesses, and some did come and speak to me at the end of the meeting and did suggest the Margot Fournier Center as an option to me. And that may be a smart option to have bathrooms available and, you know, we own the building. However, as in my motion, I do wonder if city administration would be the best, in the best position to consider where that location could be. But if it's the wish of council, perhaps council will want to make that decision as to where, or perhaps administration. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know I'm not prepared to pick a location. I know they're working on one, as I mentioned earlier, and it's going to be funded, so it might be a rental. So I'm not prepared to jump ahead of the committee. We put the committee ahead. You heard them speak today. They're working on it. And so I'm not prepared to jump ahead, so I won't be supporting the motion. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to speak to this motion as well. I mean, we all agree we need a warm-up station. We need action right now. However, this goes against everything that we just heard.
I know.
We need to work together. We can't start ourselves saying we're going to do this and this and this and this. We need to have this group and this city work together. And this is a motion that isn't working together. This is a reactionary motion for whatever reason. Okay, it is needed. There's no doubt about it. I don't think there's a single person in this room that doesn't think we need warm-up stations. But we need our committee. We need this process to work. And if we're going to undermine it by coming up with motion after motion after motion, going in our own direction, it defeats the whole purpose of what Dr. Nielsen is going to do, which is looking at the underlying causes, etc., all those prevention and mitigation, intervention, and I forget what the fourth one was. It undermines all that. And so I want to vote in favor of it, but I'm going to vote against it because I want Dr. Nielsen and his committee and his work and all of the agencies, as I said, to work together, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I do appreciate the motion coming up because I can't speak for Councillor Zepp, but I mean, we need immediate action is kind of what we've been hearing. And so, yes, we just passed a motion to engage a committee, but I'm fearful that, as I mentioned, you know, I'm looking forward to meet with them this week or soon. But I mean, that could take some time, and then we got to figure out who's going to be paying for that. And I think this motion kind of says the city should, looking at how it's been formed. And that's kind of where I think I am leaning towards some. We all want to see a warm station, but I am leaning towards this motion to support it tonight, just in principle because we do need something immediate. And if we wait for this committee, which I'm happy we passed that motion, you know, I worry that it will be into weeks, and the snow is going to come this week. I think we need to do something quick. So will be supporting this motion.
And that's why the committee said they're already working because of Wednesday, the snow. So I have faith in them. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Your Worship. So if we support this motion, what's the cost? Who's going to run it? Who's going to clean it? How fiscally responsible is it? Is it going to cost $5,000 or going to cost $150,000? We don't know. We don't even know where it's going to be. So how can any of us in this room support this motion when we don't know a cost? We don't have the support in place
No plan.
or a plan. We don't have the staffing. We don't have the protocols. We have nothing. So this isn't going to happen quickly. But if you support this, it means we have to do something immediately at whatever cost. It doesn't matter what. Just do it. Well, I don't think that that's the business that we're in right now, is to be fiscally not responsible. What we did just now was we set a plan in motion, and then we go with this plan. This is counterproductive. So I won't be supporting this. I hope nobody in this room supports it, because how much is the cost? I guess we don't care. I certainly do.
Councillor Zierakowski.
Well, it's very disappointing, Your Worship, because once again, we have a very poorly thought-out motion in front of us that's put before us without any preparation, without any research, without any data accompanying to it. It's a feel-good motion that gets nothing done, neither in the short term or in the long term. There's no plan to it. And motions without plans is just that. Empty motions that accomplish nothing. And we've seen that before. So why would we go down this road again to implement a warm-up station without knowing what's involved, doesn't even know where or where it should go? When does it open? How is it staffed? The practicality of that is overwhelming. I would rather move towards the action that we've talked about tonight, gather the experts in our community to identify the gaps, the duplication, invite our MLAs, the provincial government, other government agencies, the Métis Nation and the PAGC, and come to a solution where we're all rowing in the same direction. This motion turns us around and everybody's paddling so that they make themselves look good. And that's all this motion is.
Okay, I'm going to prompt the question.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to close. And I also have an amendment to the motion.
Okay, give me the amendment first.
That the city commit
Okay,
to the creation of a warm-up station in coordination with the Homelessness Action Initiative. In coordination with the Homelessness Action Initiative.
did we not just do that in the previous motion when we approved the committee and they're going to start working Wednesday on a warm-up shelter?
So that's what I want to say, is that is not something that was in the report, right? That is not something that was in the previous motion. I wish that it was. But what we have so far moved is for the funding of the homeless initiative. We have not, as a council, said that, look, everyone in this room, we are all in favor of a warm-up station. And I think I'm hearing that. I think I'm hearing that the council wants to see a warm-up station occur and that we don't have the details. And that's a very good point. And it's a very good point that we do not know what the cost would be.
Okay.
An excellent point. What I would like is for us to say, look, here is some action, and a warm-up station is, I would say, a small piece of the pie, a small step, and a necessary step. And I would like to see that be something that we commit to as a council. And that is not something that was in the report. The report does not, anywhere in the report does it state that there will be action by Wednesday. Nothing in the report states that there will be a warm-up station within our city. So I think that if that is what we as a council want, we need to have that as a motion. The reason that I've made this motion is because I see that we are motivated to take some action, that I think all of council wants to see some positive action, and I want to see it enacted in a motion that we're going to do something. What I don't want to leave today is I do not want to leave today as the day that we funded a report and didn't commit to having something tangible occur. I would like today that we leave saying, look, so a report has been committed to and some form of action is forthcoming, because I am hearing from the public that we need some action to happen, and it's just not acceptable to just leave it without us making some commitment that something will occur.
Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to make an amendment to this motion, that the city commit to all of the initiatives of the Homeless Action Initiative. I'd like to amend that this motion to read that. And I don't know if I can do that.
Well, she'll say yes or no.
Well, it's not a friendly amendment. If it's not a friendly amendment, then I'm going to ask for an amendment to change this motion so that we continue to work together. I mean, eight of 9 of us agreed to prevention. This is what this Homeless Action Initiative is. Prevention. In what ways can each of these stakeholders contribute towards the prevention of chronic risks leading to homelessness? Intervention. In what ways can each of these stakeholders contribute towards intervention in chronic risk that has resulted in homelessness? Mitigation of impact. In what ways can each of these stakeholders mitigate the impact of homelessness on individuals, neighbors, and communities? And last but not least, barriers. What efforts can each of these stakeholders take to reduce barriers that they or other parts of our government human services systems present towards reducing homelessness? I mean, how can we vote against that and then just say that we're going to have a homeless shelter? Not a homeless shelter, a warm-up station. I mean, this is insane. This is absolutely ridiculous that we're doing this. We're going against all of these great recommendations, this homeless initiative. And so I want this, I hope members of council, somebody will second my motion to amend the motion that was presented by Councillor Lennox-Zepp and Councillor Miller, and let's just support the Homeless Action Initiatives that we're paying for. It's more than a report. If it was just a report, I would have voted against it. If we don't see action out of this, then we're all to blame. But this is a report that is bringing all the community together to deal with this situation and these 4 paradigms that I just outlined. So I hope I have support. Somebody support me, I hope. And let's just support this initiative, the Homeless Action Initiative.
Okay, seconder? Councillor Edwards. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to prompt the question.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment on this motion.
Oh. Okay, is it going to be something new? I have a long agenda and I don't want to cut you off but I do want to hear something new if you have something new to add.
I'm happy to do so.
All right?
So, I like what, the prevention, the questions that Councillor Ogrodnik reiterated from the report. Yeah, those are good. And as I stated earlier, I'm in favor of gathering knowledge and getting information. That is good. My concern is to pair it with something tangible, doing something. And so
But you're already
the issue is that the initiative listed there, that we commit to all of the initiatives. In those initiatives, nowhere does it state that that there will be a warming station. So that's the difference between this motion of Councillor Ogrodnik's and my motion to commit to a warming station happening. And I think what I'm hearing is that, that people think that's going to happen. I'm very pleased to hear that. I didn't know that before this meeting. And I just want to ensure that we're giving the direction that that is something that needs to occur. Thank you.
I don't even know what we're voting on anymore.
Do you want to comment or not?
He wants to respond.
Okay, you'll kill your light? You'll kill your... That's why I asked, sorry. Okay, and then we are closing the debate.
Something new. You know what? When you ask and you hire a consultant to bring the community together, you can't put already decided decisions And that's why this might come out of this, is that we need warm-up stations here, here, and here, here, and here, you know, during the day, and then the homeless shelters at night. And that way it gives both groups to clean and et cetera and on and on. That might come out of this. I don't know what's gonna come out of this. That's why I'm saying we need to let the process work.
Yeah.
We need to let this group work on this and bring the community together, come up with recommendations. I'm confident Councillor Head is going to push after hearing all of the things for a warm-up station. I'm pretty sure that that's gonna come out of this. However, we don't
You
know
got
for
that
sure.
right.
We don't know for sure what's gonna come out of this. Maybe it's gonna come out of a federal program that allows us to build. Who knows? And that's why we need to let the process work. But for us to put handcuffs on this committee by saying we want this, this, and this, and this, then this is not a community adventure or a community initiative. This is council dictating to a community committee what we want. And that's not what we want. We want that committee and all the stakeholders and all the organizations into Prince Albert to say, look, this is how we're going to deal with this situation. That's what we need to do. And that's why I'm saying we can't handcuff this committee.
Okay, I'm going to prompt the question. I am killing the debate. The debate's over. The amendments. Okay, we're voting on the amendment. The vote is open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Now you realize you're voting on the amendment, not your motion.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, I agree with the amendment made by Councillor Ogrodnik. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, motion carries. So now we don't vote on the motion, right?
Let's vote on it. There's 2 seconds. Can we vote on?
Well, no, I'm going against this one. I like the amendment, but I'm going against this one.
No, but I misunderstood the clerk, sorry. I thought the amendment would wipe out number 1. Because now I can't vote for it. Number 1 to create a warm-up station.
Vote on them separately.
Oh, let's just defeat it. Okay. We're going to move to the motion. It's already up there. So I'll prompt the question. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, may I take a look at the
Just give us a minute.
motion?
She wants to see the motion. Okay, it's on the screen.
I am, based on what I've heard, I'm amending it, sub 1 to read that the city work in coordination with the Homelessness Action Initiative
Let's just
toward a
vote.
goal. Toward a goal.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're getting to
Obtaining.
just, sorry, I'm going to call for the vote.
So, Mr. Mayor, I guess it's a procedural point, is that I believe as the mover that I am able to amend it, and also I'm amending it
Go ahead.
based on what I'm hearing,
Go ahead. What's your amendment so the city clerk can put it on the screen?
that the city work with the Homelessness Action Initiative toward the goal of having a warm-up station within the city. Of having a warm-up station within the city.
So
And I hope that assists in clarifying and I think laying out what I heard from other members of council today on what their real goal is here, because you're right, it doesn't have to be funded by the city, but I am wanting to
Yeah.
make this motion for
Okay,
the purpose
Councillor
of
Miller, do you
having-
agree with this, with the changes? Oh. Well, we've got the motion up. Well, we're right from where we started, that's why I'm getting mixed up here. Open. I can't, what did I do here? You helping me? I don't know why we just had this last 10 minutes of conversation. Okay. Yep, I'm out of there. Nope. Oh, black, sorry. Oh, there we go.
Just to
Oh,
council.
I need,
No, just a second. There you go.
Councillor Miller.
Yes, Mayor Dion, thank you.
I'm just baffled. Councillor Zierakowski. Like, I'm just baffled at the change.
I think we've just seen evidence of what I said 20 minutes ago, that the original motion was poorly thought out, poorly researched, and not sourced out. So I agree with a more collaborative approach so that we don't take 3 steps backward after we pat ourselves on the back, taking 1 step forward. I'm in this for the long haul. I think we all need to collectively take our heads out of the sand and understand the city's on fire. We need to take some action and things to do. And patting ourselves on the back and making a motion that will not result in any substantial changes to our community is in the wrong direction. Let's work with the experts. Let's get these initiatives moved on, accomplished, and then we can see some tangible results. But coming to a council meeting and making a resolution that is poorly prepared and poorly thought out doesn't serve our community well.
Thank you. Okay, so you see the motion on the floor, and really all it does is back up the first one. So I'll call the question. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Okay, motion is defeated. Okay, so I'm going to close. And I'm going to move on. Okay, number 10, communications. We have 10.1, request for a letter of support restarting the Prince Albert pulp mill. Oop. Councilor Miller.
Yes, Mayor Dion, I have a question. What does support mean? Sometimes support means money, sometimes it means something else, sometimes it
Well,
means
maybe
something
I'll
else.
explain what the letter.
Yeah, let's do that.
What I was going to write, and I do quite a few of these, I ask, is that we certainly support any organization that could bring 200 new jobs to our community, okay? But I will be doing some corrections in the letter of support, because when they made their presentation at the A.A. Rawlinson Center, it showed one of the benefits the city of tax, benefits to the city is they showed 700,000 in taxation. Well, that's way incorrect. It's in the millions of dollars. So I'll have to put that in the letter as well, because we support it, but they've got to understand that the taxes will be paid. And so it'll be a very broad letter of support, that it's more about supporting the jobs and the creation of jobs and the spin-off jobs. That's what it'll be for. And we do support that. Councillor Brodnick.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question as well is, like, I don't understand why is there problems right now with paper excellence and the provincial government in getting this plant started? Like,
I don't know.
is there something that we need to know? Like, is there something that we can do to help mitigate any kinds of conflict or problems that are going on between paper excellence and the provincial government? Should we know about that? And so that's why if there is, then yeah, we definitely need to send a letter of support. But if there isn't, if I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I need help and that question answered. Is there conflict right now, or is there some sort of problems between Paper Excellence and the provincial government in getting this mill going?
Yeah.
And what are those problems? Is there somebody in this room that can answer that question?
No. And yeah, sorry, no.
There's nobody that can answer that
No,
question.
that's
Well,
why
then-
when the letter came to me, I sent it to council because it baffled me as well.
Then my suggestion is that we table this, or we ask for more clarification of specifically what
What-
kind of support is needed in getting this going. That's what I think we need to figure out. And then we can side with Paper Excellence, and yeah, we need the jobs, we need the business, we need that corporation in town. You know, they've had a long time to get going. They got their paper allotment, right? Or wood allotment, I mean. Well, they had it for years, and then they got it renewed partially. And so, I mean, what is the problem?
So will you make that a motion or?
Well,
Just
yeah, that we
that
need
the
more
mayor write back, asking them for clarification on what they want in their letter?
Yes, that's the motion that I'll make, is that what type of support is needed from the city of Prince Albert in order to get the paper mill operating again? What kind of support is needed? Like, what are the problems? So,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome. Councilor Zarakowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I like where my colleague is going. I think in that cooperative spirit that we've started here tonight, I think we could probably invite the author of this letter to come to council and share some of the good things, some of the planning, some of the dates that they have in mind, some of the excitement that they have planned for our city and our region.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Broderick, sorry, I need a seconder. Yep, Councilor Zarakowski. Did the correspondence receive that the mayor of correspondence requesting the support letter request of the city and ensure the payment will restart? Okay. Yep, I think that's clear. Any other comments? Okay, I'll prompt the question. It's now open. Councilor Zepp,
Yes.
motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay. We'll now move to reports. 11.1, Airport Capital Assistance Program Equipment. Councilor Kilmer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move that the Airports Capital Assistance Program agreement between the City and Her Majesty the Queen in the right of Canada for funding of the airport plow truck in the amount of $420,000 and material spreader in the amount of $105,000 be approved, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement and any other applicable documents on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Seconder. Oh, sorry. Councilor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Councilor Kilmer.
I would just like to say thank you so much to the director and the airport manager for all the good work that they have done in going after these grants over the past couple of years. They have made a tremendous impact for our airport and continue to grow our airport to a facility that we all can be very proud of.
Thank you. I see no one else in the queue. I'll prompt the question. Counselor Zepp,
Yes.
thank you, motion carries. Okay, 11.2, no U-turn signal elementary school zones. Counselor Gilmer?
I'd like to move this and actually make an addition.
Okay,
Is that possible? I'd like to move that the administration deploy electronic message boards and increase enforcement in elementary school zones to educate the public on U-turn regulations as outlined in subsequent 29A of the city's traffic bylaw number 35 of 2020. And number 2, that the communications department establish a contest for students in the city's 3 school divisions where students can create social media messages that remind our community to respect the 30-kilometer-an-hour speed limit and 0 tolerance for U-turns in school zones.
Counselor Edwards?
I'll second it, your worship.
Thank you. Any discussion? Counselor Head?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Councillor Kilmer, for bringing that motion forward. What a fun way to create
Yeah,
policing, I guess, or getting
Awareness.
people to comply. So that's a great way. So thank you for that. I'm going to support this motion.
Counselor Zurikowski?
The report indicates some effort towards enforcement. I wonder if we can hear more about that.
It said in the report?
Yeah, there was something in the report about planned enforcement or a conversation around enforcement or
Okay,
some enforcement being part of the solution.
okay, who is?
Unless I misread that, then I'll stand to be corrected.
What? Go ahead, Director of Public Works.
Thank you. Enforcement would come through the Prince Albert Police Department. We would be setting up the variable message boards as a reminder to all the residents in those school zones, as we did when we first brought the bylaw last year. But as far as the enforcement go, Administration Public Works, we don't hand out tickets. That would be the police department.
Okay.
So how
Councillor
does that happen?
Zurikowski.
Is there some conversation that happens between administration and the police, or how does that practically happen? Because I'm going to be asked about this tomorrow and next week, and I'd like to be able to provide some accuracy in what I tell the folks, what to expect, their level of expectation. And if there's none, then that's fine. I just don't know.
Go ahead, Director.
Thank you. We definitely are in contact with the police department through that division whenever we're making changes to whatever bylaws or signage. So we will have a conversation with the police department, the traffic division, to point out the discussions that were had today and putting up our variable message boards so that they can follow up from their end to do the same.
Okay. Counselor Edwards?
Thank you, your worship. I think it's important that the police department recognize that we don't just make bylaws just willy-nilly. And I think that message needs to be provided to the police department, because there's been a few bylaws in my time on council certainly that have been created and really often they don't get utilized. And it's, I understand it's time constraint and, you know, there's some concerns there, but we do have a traffic division. And, you know, I think that there should be some enforcement. It is a problem. The U-turn policy was brought in because there were concerns, there were safety concerns. We don't want to see a kid get ran over. There's car accidents because people do U-turns right there. That creates a problem, creates injuries. So I do think that we should provide a letter, provide something to say, listen, we don't create these bylaws just to be heard.
Thank you. Just so you know that I have made a note, and I will be doing a gender review later this week on the police commission, and I will put that item on the agenda well, I'm actually gonna put all bylaws, just not this one. There's a few others that they should be dealing with. Yes, Councillor Bodnar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this is why, like, if you just scroll down the 30-kilometer, it's right there. So we have a sign, and the police can easily enforce it. But without signage of no U-turns, I mean, that again makes it difficult. And that's what my whole motion was about. And yes, it's going to cost, I think, $7,000, was it, or $9,000, something like that. But you know what? That's money well spent on safety to put a sign there. And if the sign is there, the police officer, like the sign is right there on the pole. You just did a U-turn, bang. You're getting in my opinion, it'd be a $5,000 fine, you know, because you're putting kids in danger and safety. And we all see those 30-kilometer-an-hour signs or those no U-turn signs. And when we violate it and it's there, we get it. I got a ticket for doing a rolling stop sign. I paid it. I rolled through the stop sign. I didn't come to a complete stop. It's there. It's black and white. It's very easy for the police officer to give you that ticket. And that's what we need to make sure that we do, is have the signage. So I'm disappointed that there is no sign. That signage isn't part of the motion. But I will support this, and we'll work in budget maybe to get some signs and find the $7,000 to put signage so that it makes it a lot easier for our police officers to enforce this bylaw.
Question for the director. How many electronic signs do we have that you're going to deploy?
The electronic signs have all been previously deployed. We have them permanently mounted in the school zones. So there are 8 in school zones, and then we have 8 movable ones.
No, I'm talking about the electronic message board that you're going to put in about no U-turns.
Oh,
How many of those do we have?
We have 4 of those. They will all be used in the school zones unless required for, say, a water and sewer or roadway construction project during that period of time. Then we'd have to pull one away, but we'll always put it back there when it's not in use.
Okay, so we have 4 electronic signs.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one clarification point for the director. I'm wondering if by electronic message boards, we also mean the big billboard and that it's continually going through that as our message boards?
Yes, those are the 4 signs that I'm speaking of. The variable message boards are those very large construction signs that you saw on 15th Avenue during the summertime.
No. I'm going to send it over to Kylie. I know what he's referred to.
Okay, that one. Yeah, we'd have to work with Kylie in communications on that one.
Yeah, it does qualify, so I'll have them work on that. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to prompt the question. Questions now open. Councillor Zapp?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We have 11.3, waste collection and disposal bylaw. And I would like to pass the chair to Councillor Edwards, and I'd like to speak on this. Okay, thank you. Oh.
Thank you, Your Worship, and proceed.
Thank you. I would move, and I'd add number 2. To the thing, is that administration bring forth a report to establish resident and non-residents rates for the Prince Albert Regional Landfill that will take effect July 1st, 2020. And the report should include, number 1, considerations and options of implementation. Number 2, recommended rates. Number 3, consulting with North Central Waste Management Corporation's members and waste management companies. And that's my motion, and I'll speak on it once I get a
Sure,
seconder.
we'll just hang on until it's up on the board, and then we'll. Okay, so discussion. Counselor Zerkowski.
So I'll second it.
sorry, we
and then
need a
I'd
second,
like
yes.
to make a comment if I may. I
Sure.
wonder, your worship, and this is not going to be a new topic, but it was my intent to change one piece of information here.
Okay.
And that piece of information is just contained within the residential waste category. The minimum fee is proposed to be $13 at less than 150 kilograms weight. So I'd like to propose that residential waste at less than 150 kilograms be changed to less than 300 kilograms at a residential load of $13.
Okay, so add that, I agree with that, so you'll add that as number 3?
That's on page 1 or 65, page 1 of the bylaw, first chart. And that goes to a conversation we've had over a number of years, 3 to 4 years, that whenever our residents, we should be able to do something nice for our residents. We should be able to do something for our residents. When they go to take a half-ton load or a trailer load to the landfill, they end up using 2 of their free water bills or 1, and they get charged an amount because that, frankly, that weight is too light. And I think we need to, that's one of the things we should be able to do for our residents.
No. I like it.
Thank you for your support on that.
That's the one, it's his. Sue, can you just guide her again?
Sure. So it's the residential waste of less than 150 kilograms
Change that to 300?
to less than 300 kilograms. Unless the director sees something in the wrong category, but I think that's the right spot for that.
I think the director would like to comment. Go ahead, Director.
Thank you. On that particular item, and I'm not in favor or against it, because it's council's decision, but it will have an impact on overall revenue at the kiosk. So my thought would be, if you were more than willing to include it in the mayor's motion, which is part of that report to bring forward in the coming year, because then we would at least have an opportunity to look at what kind of an impact it would be.
Why not?
I don't agree to that change. It's my motion, but you go ahead, sorry.
Okay, Counselor Zerkowski. Want to pop his light on, Mayor?
Give me a little red light.
Yeah, we need
Oh.
some red light.
Red light.
Okay,
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that feedback. That's great to know. It will impact the revenue at the landfill, but thankfully, it's going to leave a little money in the pockets of our residents. So I think in that category, I think it's a good fit. I think we've talked about it for 3-4 years, and this seems to be an appropriate place to make that change. So I appreciate the feedback, but it will impact the revenue, but it's going to leave money in the pockets of our residents, so I'm okay with that.
okay, so what we gotta do to get rid of that? Okay. Okay. It has to be-
Yes, Mayor Dion?
Just, so you know, Councilor Zerkowski, we just checked and you read the one below. So we had to add residential changed in case it's above. So you'll notice we added another line. It was below 150 and over 150. So now it's gonna be under 300 and over 300. Okay?
Thank you for that.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, so.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. And we have Counselor Miller next.
Yes, I think that's a really great initiative because it's technically called 4 free landfills, and they don't actually get 4 actual free ones. So this will make up for it. Thank you, Councillor Zerkowski.
Counselor Cody?
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily in agreement with this, how much stuff are we gonna give away here, folks? We're looking for every dollar we can find, and one day we're gonna be going through these budget for a week or so, and we're gonna look for little things, and here's one of them we're just giving away. We don't even know what the hell it's gonna cost us. I have no idea what the difference is between 150 and 300 grams. We already go 4 times to the dump. I don't know how many times you have to go. Must be some awful lot of garbage around, but it just seems to me that I don't like the fact that we're giving all this stuff away. Secondly, I think the way we're proceeding here is wrong. We've got a third reading of a bill here, and now if I want to vote against that 300 kgs, I got to vote against the whole bill. And there's good stuff in that bill that I want to go. So I don't know how we're going to do that. I've never seen amendments made like this before to a third reading of a bill. I can see it on second reading, because that's where you do your discussion. But I've never seen it on third reading. And I think it's a poor way of doing business. I think we should have it separated somehow, because some of this stuff I can't agree with.
This isn't the actual third reading. This is to be given 3 readings.
Yeah, they're asking for 3 readings tonight.
Right. Councillor Zerkowski.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate my colleague's comments, and I know I don't necessarily disagree with what he's thinking about the process. We certainly don't need to give it 3 readings today. We certainly don't need to. We can let it sit here for a bit, move forward on first reading, even on second if that's our wish. Let it sit for a bit and come back and then see what the final looks like for third reading. So certainly first reading gets it into the public eyes, gets it into the public conversation, and we can come back for another reading at a later date.
Okay, if I could.
Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I guess I'm wondering why it came then today to have the 3 readings.
Always does. I think the general procedure is that we bring it forward for 3 readings. Director?
Thank you. So we need to have the bylaw updated in time for the January 1st change in the rates. And we have to post that bylaw. We have to change our rates online. We have to put out our notices. So we do need to have this in a somewhat of a timely manner. But Councillor Cody does make a valid point. Usually the reading of the rates is separate. We could have all of these other things as separate motions. Even Councillor Zerkowski's request would be something that if it was separate, then at least to the next.
Are you telling us procedure? I gotta cut you off, sorry.
No, not procedure.
Governance is my table.
Yeah, sorry, not procedure, but the opportunity for the administration to come back and tell you how much that change is going to cost to the next meeting.
Okay, our next meeting is the 29th.
Okay, let's get some order here. So we're gonna go first to Mayor Dion.
The reason I support it is the administration did not follow our instructions right from the start. We said we would give the residents one free half-ton load. It was talking about a half-ton, okay? I've never got to use my 4 free passes because I bring a half-ton in. I've never yet to get through the gate. And so that's what I didn't understand. And what I like about it is this is stuff that are people, Councillor Cody, that are bringing to the landfill that can't put in their green bin. Their green bin says no dirt, no bat, no this, no this. So I still don't want them to throw it out in the ditch. I want them to bring it to the landfill. So I support the train strictly on, because when I said we're giving you 4 free, then if administration wants it to stay the way it is, then you're gonna get 4 at 150. It's not free. There's the restriction. When we told them they get a free half-ton load, I was shocked the first time I went with my half-ton load and said that I owe more money. And because as a taxpayer, we don't know the technical things about the 150 under, the 150 over 300. We understood that we were getting a free load to the landfill. And I support it the same way as I support spending the money for the cleanup. This is stuff that is going to our landfill in most cases that we won't put in our green bin. Won't fit. I don't want the appliances in the back alley. You know, one got charged 2 because he had 2 appliances. Okay? Well, I don't understand that. Take both appliances. Hey, they brought them, take them. you know, that's the whole idea. We don't want them in the backyard. We certainly don't want them in the RM dumped in a bush. So I do support this at the moment.
Councillor Grodnick?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. You know what, I'm not in favor of this as well. We just spent over $6 million adding a cell, and now we're gonna encourage more and more free to be dumped into that cell. How long is that cell gonna last? You know, the last time we added a cell, it was supposed to last 20 years or something like that, or 10 years, whatever, and it's lasted, you know, half the time. And so we need to find a way of paying for our landfill. As far as free goes, we get a ton of free dumps at the landfill. I don't know how many loads of branches I brought out there, never got charged a single cent. Yard waste, you don't get charged a single cent. You have, you know, we have the blue bin and our green bins that are going out in the summertime, you know, every week, and then now alternating. I mean, you could pack as much as you want in those bins, and it's taken away, and you're charged that one landfill or sanitation fee. So I'm with Councillor Cody that, you know what, we need to find revenue, and we need to start paying for some of this stuff, and to increase the amount of waste that a resident can bring free is not the way to go. Because I think the things that we want free in there are the recyclable things, the yard waste, the branches, things that can be reused. This other stuff is going to be there permanently, and why are we giving them more and more free for that? And by the way, I was the one that used up 2 of my free fills for my 2 appliances that I brought out there. No big deal. I still have 1 free left in the year, and I probably won't use it. You know, last year I don't think I used them. So I don't think we need to increase the amount of weight brought to the landfill. So I'm not in favor of this motion.
I'm going to have a quick word. I am going to support. I've never once gone to the landfill and only used one. And I don't feel I bring a whole bunch of stuff. And that's unfortunate. And when you go, it's too quickly. And I don't know why. And I don't know whether 300 is the answer. I'm not sure. Maybe that's too much. But I don't know why every time I go out there and try to use one, I use 2, or I have to pay that additional. And our residents are paying that $6 million. It's not free. It's so to
Good
give
point.
them a little benefit to
Good
live
point.
within our city boundary, I'm okay with that. It's the little things that help.
Pays to be a resident.
And Merity on to close.
Okay, no, it's just that I just got to give my argument. I won't too long. I do believe when we say a free half ton, it should be a free half ton. Because I know the times I used it, I couldn't get what I wanted in the green bin. It was oversized. So I put it in my truck and I took it out there and I had to use 2. And so to me, I compare the 4 free weeks is the same as the free, when we put all the bins and do the area cleanup. And I'm worried, and I remember once when there was an issue about tires, well then we littered the RM with tires. When we wanted money for tires, they just throw them off because people won't pay it. So I like it strictly because I want to encourage people to clean up the city.
Okay.
Prompt a question.
And Councillor Zerkowski, you have something more?
I do have a question later on in the bylaw. Sorry, I don't.
Sure, go
Okay.
ahead.
Just give me 1 minute here. Okay.
On page 3 of the bylaw, number 2 says, an extra fee of $25 will be charged at the kiosk for people in violation of subsection 9.3 of the PA Waste Collection and Disposal Bylaw. What is 9.3? For the benefit of the folks listening.
Director.
And what was unique about it this year, that we had the opportunity to, or I had at least, you had to go to a meeting, but I had the opportunity to stay and meet with 4 elders that were nominated as elders, and senators, I should say. They were nominated as senators. which is quite a unique experience, and it was great to see. And one of the persons that I really know very well is a former chief of Peter Ballantyne, Peter Beattie. Peter A. has been a friend of mine for years and years and years, ever since the old housing days, and so he was given the honor of being a senator, which was great to see.
Thank you. Councillor Kilmer?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to thank Prince Albert resident Garth Callan for sharing his story recently with PA Now about the importance of carbon monoxide detectors. Last winter, Mr. Callan was woken with a beeping, and he thought it was low battery and almost ignored it. But it turned out it was his carbon monoxide detector. He called the fire department and Sask Energy, and it was determined that his furnace was defective and that the heat exchanger had cracked. I'd like to thank our fire department, who always reminds us to check our batteries regularly, and pleased to make sure that we have smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in our homes. And if you're a renter, call your landlord today and make sure that they're installed. Thank you, Mr. Callan.
Councillor Edwards?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to talk briefly about the outstanding football game that was played in Prince Albert, the two high school teams. Councillor Ogrodnik mentioned most of it, but you know what an outstanding evening. St. Mary's got the victory, which I was certainly happy with. I had two boys playing on that team, so I was a little biased and ringing my cowbell for them, but
Never had too much cowbell.
the cowbells were ringing loudly for that game. But as Councillor Ogrodnik mentioned, it was played with respect. Both teams, they weren't out there to hurt each other. It was a well-played game. And to Carleton, the quarterback for Carleton is grade 9. And what an outstanding athlete he is. I think his brother, grade 11, was the running back out there for Carleton too. So congratulations to both teams. Well played, well coached by all the coaches involved. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Was that also not a playoff game for the league? The league championship. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I too attended the Carleton and St. Mary's game, and it was also the league final. So what a great opportunity to show off our city that our two teams took the league, and was playing in it. And even though St. Mary's won, to me, I'm like my colleagues over here, they were all winners. The young people that were out there, we estimated there was about 750 people there. It was a really nice evening, cold, get used to it. But it was a really nice evening, and just to see the fans cheer for both sides, even though some were a little biased to the others because of the parents and stuff, it was just a great event to attend and see that number of people out, and to cheer on our two teams that took on all the Saskatoon teams and ended up in the final. So, and I also want to congratulate the teachers and the volunteers that work there, because what people don't understand, teachers are volunteers. They were not getting paid for that extracurricular activity that night. They step up and they volunteer for that position and work with the school and the students and the other teachers to make that happen. So I want to reach out and thank them for that, because without them, we wouldn't have the leaders in the community that we do, and we get it through our youth. So thank you for that, and I'll move on to number 14, inquiries. None? Whoop, here we go. Councillor Miller.
Hi, Mayor Dion. Thanks for, so anyways, I have a couple inquiries for tonight. The hours of operation for Georgie's drive-through is a concern for our community, and I don't know, like I used to work for a couple of establishments downtown as well, but we never opened our doors until 9 o'clock, but these doors are opened at 8 a.m., well, the drive-through door, I should say. And it's a drive-through, but there's walk-ups, so I'm not too sure if that's allowed or not. So I got that for an inquiry, as well as, there's a couple of properties in Ward 1 and 2. I'll just give the addresses to Planning Department and Bylaw. So these two properties have been talked to before, and things aren't getting any better. And as a matter of fact, my phone keeps ringing off the hook, and I'm really not that impressed. My residents aren't happy, neither is the neighborhood, and the surrounding areas, it's affecting them very much so. They're trying to sell houses there, so I'm getting a little bit of flack from residents and real estate agencies, and so I'm not happy. And I'd like these two properties taken care of once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you. And you'll remember to drop off your forms to the city clerk when you're done. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you. I have one question of the city clerk, I guess it would be. Do we have a policy in place that has protocols for grand openings, how we do it? And secondly, do we have a policy that all of these kinds of events that are taking place that the city is putting on, that it's communicated with council members? Because I know the Party City one, there were some council members that said to me, if they would have known, they would have come to it as well. And so I'm just wondering, do we have something in place, a policy in place, city clerk? Or maybe it's not city clerk's question.
I can answer it both,
Okay,
if you don't
thank you.
mind, for the city clerk myself.
Okay.
The answer is no, but on what happened the other day, we are bringing forth a policy. And one of the policies that we're bringing forward, any event that we have should be emceed by the Director of Communications. That was our biggest thing. She knows all the protocols, she knows to notify council. So in the future, events like that, and they will be bringing this policy forward to council to approve. Because we don't have a protocol, and we got to stop making the errors that we do, and to make sure that we're respectful. So I have talked to the city manager, and we will be bringing a report and a policy change to council, because we don't have one today, and we should. Yes, that's part of the policy. Yeah, because I do know if it comes to my office, we make sure that everyone get out. I think everyone got the notice today about the Remembrance Day service on the 10th. Okay, good, because I think, to me as the mayor, I'm so proud, and when I look out in the crowd and I see 5, 6, 7, 8 of you out there, I think that's important to show that we're together. Councillor Zurkowski.
Two inquiries, if I may. One being the two billboards on 2nd Avenue that are really becoming quite an eyesore for some time now. The one near the, I guess it's in the parking lot of the downtown mall, right along 2nd Avenue. Just on the other side of a breakfast establishment. Makes really good crispy bacon. And the other one is further up on 2nd Avenue, also an eyesore. That used to be, well, in front of the old Imperial 400. Is becoming an eyesore. So I wonder if there's something we can do and have a visit and a chat with the owner and see what the plan is for those two billboards.
Yeah, we'll have the director, because both our bylaws and our policies request that they're kept in good shape, so he can deal with that.
Thank you. The other one is the, recently we approved a walkway closure under, I think it's the first one that we did underneath our new walkway closure policy. And part of the policy is a $500 deposit, whoever's making that request to make that happen. And I wonder if the director, and it doesn't have to be now, but this is my inquiry, what was the true cost of that walkway closure for the applicant on, in behind, I don't know if I can give the address, if I should give the address, but it's just in behind of Laurier Drive. So the answer doesn't have to be tonight, but I think it's important that we know the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Miller.
Yes, I had an inquiry for the city clerk. Somebody just texted me and said we're not live streaming tonight, and they'd like to know why.
There is a situation with our system tonight, and the live streaming isn't working tonight.
And you took a text during council. I wouldn't admit that. Okay. Yes. we're correcting that shortly with the new policy. Okay, any other inquiries? Seeing none, number 15, inquiry responses, 15.1. Oh, Councilor Zarakowski.
Well, I see the motion is to probably usually receive and file it, but I know some of the answer within the inquiry is we're going to hear the answer tonight. So based on the answer, I think maybe we could hear the answer and then we could have a motion. I'm talking specifically about, the one about, that the answer will be provided, oh, here we go, yep, sorry. Construction on Woodbridge, oh, sorry, yeah. So it's that back alley between 6A Avenue and all of the construction that's been going on Woodbridge has destroyed that back alley. That Public Works has worked so hard to grade and make sure it's at the right elevation. We put in a storm drain a couple of years ago, and all of that completely got obliterated with the construction. And I'm wondering what the plan is, if we can make sure that grade is up to snuff. I guess I'm repeating myself. The answer here says the answer will be provided at this city council meeting. So I wonder if
Okay.
we can have that answer.
Yeah, we'll go to the director. Go ahead, Director of Public Works.
Thank you very much. Yes, apologize. We did get that inquiry from the last meeting. We did respond to the city manager's office. Unfortunately, I think maybe due to the holiday or something, we didn't make the deadline. But having said that, I did direct the survey department and the roadways department to go to that back lane and to resurvey it and make sure it was graded appropriately because of the changes that have taken place due to those constructions. That may have already taken place. I haven't visited there myself today, but they were instructed to go there and to make those changes. And would you like me to answer the other one at the same time?
Go ahead.
So on the busing in Crescent Acres, we did meet with the principal of St. Mary's today, and I believe that we did come to some resolution of a way that we can service Crescent Acres with the rush hour bus without disrupting the existing service that's provided throughout the city. That bus has a shortened schedule. It runs a little quick all the time, and so by adding a loop through the north part of Crescent Acres, we add about 5 minutes to the route, but we don't disrupt the connections downtown. So we feel we're going to try to put that into service, and we'll be able to service that without really any impact to the system whatsoever.
Thank you.
I'll move to receive and file. And just in response, I'm pleased with the answer. Thank you for that. I looked at it again this weekend, that back alley I'm speaking of. It's better than it was a couple of weeks ago. But as long as there's a high degree that water will flow in the spring.
Well,
I
that's
think
why the
what we're looking
surveyor's
for.
got to be there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll prompt the question. Question's now open. Councillor Zepp,
Yes.
thank you. It passes. Okay, number 16, notice of motions. Councillor Bodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have one notice of motion that administration develop a policy to deal with the public's abuse of city employees and the elected. When I say abuse, I'm talking about verbal emails, telephone calls, things like that we're getting, and city employees are getting as well. And so if we could have a policy and a procedure in place that deals with the small few that are doing this, but like I know it's very hurtful for some of us that receive some of these, and so I think we need a policy and then whatever, a bylaw or whatever we want to deal with it, but that's my notice of motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards?
Thank you. I have a notice of motion that I'd like to be heard tonight. And The motion reads that administration through bylaw enforcement and in consultation with the chief of police, the city solicitor, and relevant public stakeholders, review the city's obstruction solicitation bylaw and best municipal practices in order to identify and recommend bylaw enforcement and resourcing options that would more effectively discourage the accosting of residents and customers of businesses by persons aggressively seeking donations for personal use and benefit. And two, that recommendations come back to the December 13th council meeting.
Do you have one on the 13th? Okay. Okay, thank you. Councilor Zierakowski? Oh, no, it's just notices to come back to the next one. Councilor Edwards?
Oh, sorry.
No problem. I have one motion, and not to be heard tonight at the next meeting, as I mentioned it earlier. That in order to protect all facilities and workplaces against the risk of the spread of COVID-19 virus and its variants, and subject to lawful exemptions for medical concerns and religious benefit, administration is directed to implement effective January 1st, 2020, restrictions to the public access to all city facilities, including the police service headquarters, substation, city foyer, airport, requiring every person eligible for a COVID-19 vaccination to produce proof of at least 2 doses of federally approved COVID-19 vaccination as a condition of the access. Okay, anyone else before I move on? Public forum, we have, oh, sorry, motions. Oh, sorry. Councillor Edwards, do you want to ask for leave? You got to ask for leave first to hear your motion. To hear your motion tonight. Thank you. Okay, seconder? Councilor Zierakowski? Thank you. She's just typing and I'll prompt the question.
second that.
And then once leave is granted, we'll see if there's a discussion. No, you need the majority, all of us, to hear it tonight. Yeah, it has to be unanimous. Sorry, 2/3. So we need 6, right? 6? Okay, so I need 2/3. So the question is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Leave is granted. Okay, Councillor Edwards, your motion, please. Oh. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, your worship.
Well, I've got to glow so I can't see the screen.
It's also move that administration through bylaw enforcement and in consultation with the chief of police, the city solicitor, and relevant public stakeholders, review the city's obstructive solicitation bylaw and best municipal practices in order to identify and recommend bylaw enforcement and resourcing options that would more effectively discourage the accosting of residents and customers of businesses by persons aggressively seeking donations for personal use or benefit. And two, that the recommendations come back to the city council on or before December 13th, 2021.
Thank you. Councillor Zierakowski?
I'll second that, and I can speak to it.
Yeah, but Councillor Edwards? You want to close or speak? Okay, yeah, just to maybe explain it?
You're up, cool.
Yeah. Okay, Counselor Edwards.
So it's no secret that in our business districts, several areas of the city, there are people searching for money. And it's not always friendly people, and that's the unfortunate part. It's not always necessarily the absolute homeless people. It's people that are there to intimidate and ensure that they get money handed to them. And this is happening regularly. And residents are discouraged. And as a matter of fact, they're often saying, I don't know when I can shop. And so I believe that we need to look into some solutions into this, what we can do, what we can do to discourage this behavior, and in particularly the aggressive behavior that is occurring. It's unfortunate. The businesses need help. They need people to be shopping and not online. We need people to be feeling safe in these locations, and that's not occurring. And there's several sites, several locations throughout the city. That's everything for now. Thank you.
Thank you, and I agree with that statement. Counselor Zarakowski.
Well, again, earlier on in the evening, we talked about action, and I think this is part of that scale. I think this deals with both sides of it. It is not acceptable that our residents are harassed and intimidated when they go shopping at our local stores. It is not acceptable. It is not right. And there has been a change towards a more aggressive and intimidative person that approaches you. And if you don't give them what they want, they become more irate and more offensive. It's becoming more frequent. And we can't ignore it. We can't accept it. It's not good enough to say, oh, well, we'll just put up with it. No. We need to do something about it. We need to be on both sides of the scale, and we need to approach both sides of the equation and deal with it. So I thank Councillor Edwards for bringing that forward.
Counselor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to the mover of the motion, when you say public stakeholders, could you explain a little bit more of who that might be? Because it's not clear. And also, more so, I guess, what are you hoping to achieve other than shooing people out of that property and providing safe people entrance to that and exit to those properties? But what can we do through bylaw that that this motion is hoping to achieve? I guess a little more clarification. Thank you.
Counselor Edwards.
And this is one reason I'm asking for a report, and certainly to look for some information on some solutions that can occur. Am I looking to shoo people away? I'm looking to shoo people away who are being aggressive and scaring individuals who just want to shop and get groceries or their supplies for the week.
Yes.
Absolutely, it can't be accepted within the city. When we have people that are coming into our city right now from outside of the city and saying, often, I'm not shopping in your city any longer. That's a problem. And it's a problem that needs to be dealt with. I don't know those solutions. We're not the only city that deals with this. And that's part of the motion there for sure, is to look at some of the solutions. Stakeholders, certainly businesses have to be a stakeholder in that. There's lots of stakeholders in our city. If they feel the need to provide some input, fantastic. But again, we're not the only city dealing with this. We're not the only city that have faced this in the past. It's just something that we need to deal with, because there are people that are scared to shop in our city, and our city is pretty important for people to shop to and help our economics.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the director first for a comment, and then I'll go back to Councillor Abrodnik. And I know how to do that.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. Thank you, Councillor Edwards, for the motion. Normally, I wouldn't speak at this point, but I do want to mention that the date you've provided is a city council meeting. It would be nice to have the opportunity to present to council the information that we've gathered, which would put us at an executive committee meeting. I just wanted to make that clear to you. The next executive committee meeting would be January 10th. However, if your preference is a December meeting, we'll do our best to meet that timeline as well.
Okay. Councillor Cody.
Yeah, certainly, I think one of the biggest stakeholders in all of this is the storekeepers. Let's face it, it's their business, and I know it's difficult for some of the smaller ones to hire security because security costs money for them. But at the same time, they have to help us too. We can't just go out there and have our people out there as bylaw officers and they're as police chasing these people around. They've got to have a bit of a stake in it too. They've got to have a bit of skin in this game because it's their store that we're protecting, and we're protecting their customers that won't go there anymore if they continuously be harassed. And the harassment is getting worse and worse all the time. I was down there I'm down there a lot because a lot of it's at Cornerstone now, and I go by there every day. And you see them all the time by that 1, 2, or 3 stores, and it's not at all safe. And I'm not a smaller person. I could take care of myself quite well with the pipe wrench, but but sometimes you don't want to take those measures. But it's dangerous going into those stores. If I were a woman, I wouldn't want to go into one of those stores alone. It's just that bad, and that's very unfortunate when we have nice places like those stores along there, and they can't even go and shop. That's just not right. I think the bylaws, the motion is a good one. I think we need to do it, but we need to ask the storekeepers as well to put some skin in the game here and help out us a bit as well.
Councillor Broderick.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. I can see some, I see the validity in this concern. There's no doubt about it. And I think that as a city, we have some control or some jurisdiction, I should say, not control, jurisdiction over like Central Avenue, places like that, But once we go on private property, like Cornerstone is private property. And is it our jurisdiction to be policing outside that store, Walmart or whatever? I'm not sure if it's for us to be doing that, or is it that business that got reduction in their taxes to be paying a little bit more in making sure it's safe for the customers coming into that particular place. I mean, spend some money and make it safe. And so I'm not sure it's just our role, as Councillor Cody said. It definitely is on Central Avenue and places like that where the business is on, right up against the city sidewalk. I mean, we have some jurisdiction there to make sure it's safe, but I think I agree with Councillor Cody that we need to make sure that the big box stores that are making a lot of money also contribute and make sure that it's safe. There's a bank there. The bank that I bank at, they don't. You can't get money. You can't go there and get money after hours, after business hours anymore. And I said, like, what? They've got, ATMs, but you can't access them after the bank closes at 5 o'clock. Like or on Saturdays and Sundays. Sundays you can't get money. I can't get money out of my accounts on Sundays. Anyways, and I've had a number of people that say that this is ridiculous, but that's what that bank did in order to say that it was unsafe, And actually, they blamed us. When I was in there one time, somebody was complaining, and one of the bank persons said, well, the city passed a bylaw saying that we have to close at 5. And I turned to her and I said, absolutely not. We didn't pass a bylaw. Well, who are you? Well, okay, I know we didn't pass a bylaw saying that this bank has to close at 5 o'clock. But, so I think, I agree with Councillor Cody that we have to have these big businesses contributing.
Okay, before I go to Councillor Edwards to close, Councillor Zepp, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Okay, and, Councillor Edwards talked to me about this, and I thought about it, but then I ran into an incident. I was going into the grocery store, and this lady said, Mr. Mayor, I said, yeah, can I ask you something? Yeah. Will you escort me to my car? And so on the way to the car, I talked to her. And I'm surprised she still shops at that grocery store because she had 2 other incidences in the last month. One got very aggressive and was grabbing her shopping cart because they wanted $1, you know, and she wouldn't let go of her shopping cart. And the one time, she had her kid in the shopping cart. So she threw the kid in the car and slammed the door and locked herself in the car. That's the wrong, I don't want that kind of experience ever in the city of Prince Albert. We welcome you here, we welcome you to shop, we want you to be safe. So I'm glad that Councillor Edwards brought this forward, and I hope we're very aggressive once we do come up with the bylaw, because at the end of the day, we all deserve to be safe in our community. Go ahead, Councillor Edwards. Just hang on for a minute. Yeah, but. Just hang on for 1 minute, Councillor Edwards. She cut me, she cut me off. Okay,
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. So in closing, and it's not all about creating a new bylaw. We have bylaws in place. Do we need some adjusting? For sure. The reality is when people are getting harassed, they are phoning our police. So they are there a lot, for sure. But we need some changes. Something has to occur. The businesses, by all means, play a major stake in this, and they need to come to task and discuss it. So I brought this forward. I like the December meeting. Christmas time is rolling and time is clicking. So I don't know, we're not going to change this immediately, but I don't want to put it off for months. So thank you.
okay. The clerk now is going to prompt the vote and cut me off. Okay, the vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. We have no one at public forum. Councillor Kilmer,
I move to adjourn.
seconder? Seconder? It's ahead. All in favor? We're carried. Okay, 15 minutes, please. 15 minutes.